What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know I'm about to get it in. But before I get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all. Ding. So that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I'm kicking, man. And I highly appreciate all the support. I'm very humbled. I know I couldn't do this without you. Thank you for the support. So, I seen a video Dubs made a while back, 24 years in prison and his first day out. So I got collectively 19 years totally incarcerated in the prison system in 3 different states, right? I was basically doing life on the installment plan. And every different yard that I went to, I had to adapt. You have to adapt. And I'll tell you, prison ain't for the faint of heart. You hear when you're a gang member and you're living that lifestyle, you hear stories from homeboys that get out, OG veteranos. Hey, oh, fucking, yeah, I just got out of New Folsom. They see it was fucking crazy. They see we were going at it with the fucking Southsiders, right? And you hear all these stories, and as a kid, you're intrigued. As a youngster, you're intrigued. Like, hey, man, this is where I want to end up one day. This is a stepping stone, a badge of honor to go to prison. As you get older, you realize you were stupid. You realize, man, you were confused and you were being indoctrinated with the bad clecha. There's nothing cool or fun or good about prison. Okay. Everything that you do in prison doesn't count for anything in society. Doesn't make you bad, doesn't make you stronger, doesn't make you harder. It means you lost time and life is precious, right? That's why sayings like health is wealth and keep on striving and all these things means something out here. But in prison, it's a different world and you must abide by the politics and by the rules. So once you get there, once you achieved and you open up that level and you get introduced into prison, man, it's a place where only the strong survive, where you have to be black-hearted, mindful of you and you only, and understand, man, that every single move you make, man, can conflict with someone else's moves, or can make you or break you. It's the truth, right? Over the total of 19 years, I've been in some good yards. When I say good yards, I mean solid, good homies, good program, opportunities, right, to better yourself. And only you could take the initiative to better yourself, man. They're providing schooling, they're providing education, they're providing things, but it's up to you to grab the reins and ride that horse, right? If not, if you want to choose to go into a prison yard, involve yourself in politics and drinking wine and gambling and being a gang member, then you're going to get what you got. There's definitely those situations right there are never going to pan out to be good for you. I've seen guys roll it up off the yard for drug debts. I've seen guys get whacked on the yard because they acted stupid on the tier after drinking pruno or wine, right? And I've seen some guys that just mind their own. They blend in. You wouldn't even think they're part of their car, right? You don't even get a chance to talk to them on the yard, nothing. They're too busy walking their laps or busting down, doing their program, sticking to themselves. And then eventually those will be the same guys that are stabbing you. They're with the business, right? There's a lot of different mentalities in prison. Some are YA babies like myself, man, that had that YA mentality, that played the YA games. And in going to YA, that was kind of, I would say, that helped. That helped a lot being in prison, because at the end of the day, I knew how it felt to be incarcerated for a large number of days, for a large amount of time. So if anything, that's how it helped. But a lot of the games and a lot of the fucking things that we involved ourselves in the youth authority, right, were a joke. We were trying to earn stripes. We were trying to put our barrio on the map. We were trying to, make people fear us. And at the end of the day, we're a bunch of fucking mocosos, a bunch of kids running around a yard with fucking halfway made shanks, trying to stab each other for nothing, because none of that counted in prison. See, the YA baby stories and all that didn't gain us any notoriety or any, no one feared us. If anything, people didn't even want to be around YA babies in prison, because the mentality to play games, the mentality to do stupid things was instilled in us, But being a YA to help shape the man I am, because I went through probably some of the most vicious and violent situations I've ever been through in my life in the youth authority. So I was able to go to prison and adapt and say, this ain't shit. This is a bunch of grown men doing time. This is the way time is supposed to be done, respectful. People respected each other. Everybody knew who the enemy was. Get off when you're when it's your time to get off, man. And most of the conflict that we had was within our own people, within our own car. Functioning as an active Norteño on the yards, I could tell you, man, it was never about the other side. We always were aware of their numbers, our targets, what was going on, but always there was drama within our own. There was always someone getting removed, someone pulling up with bad paperwork, someone that you wanted to test the abilities. And it was cold because a lot of these guys that pulled up, I was actually in the youth authority with. I had been locked up with them, and it was kind of a trip figuring out how they, fell into the fold or how things changed in their life. And they found themselves in a situation. I was asked by certain homeboys that knew they were all bad on the yard. Things were coming down, right? Damn, bro, look out for me. We're on Y together. You know what time it is? I don't know what time it is. From that time to this time, something fucking happened. You're on your own. And it's cold-blooded. I've seen brothers go against brothers, primos against primos, father and son go against each other. It's prison, California prison mentality, right? I could say that I've had the privilege to do prison time in 3 different states, but really it's not a privilege. I just happen to get caught a lot, right? Or told on a lot. It's just what it was. But 19 years collectively in prison, man, is a long time. Now, I know Dubs did 24 years straight. Solid, man. And some of the most harshest environments, validated back there in Pelican Bay, in the SHU, Corcoran SHU. Some of these places, man, we only hear stories about. And it's places no man would want to go to. It was torture tactics. There was a lot of bad things happening to a lot of good and bad people. It's unfortunate, right? I myself, I did a lot of whole time, did SHU programs. Did a little bit of everything. Was I validated? No. So I didn't get an indeterminate, right? I was able to escape the validation process on 2 different occasions, which was a good thing for me, I see so many people back in the hole or back in the shoes fighting their validation, man. And validation doesn't really mean anything now because since the end of hostilities, the way prison is in California, everyone's out there on them yards. So you don't get indeterminates anymore, meaning you don't get an indeterminate SHU, meaning indefinite. And that's what it meant. It wasn't an indeterminate, it was an indefinite time, meaning that if you had 20 years to do, you did 20 years back in that fucking dungeon. And if you paroled and you came back, guess what? Whatever time you had, you still did in that dungeon. You were never to be released back onto the yard because you were a threat to the safety and security of the prison. That's the way they figured it out. That's the way they wanted it to be. Now, the end of hostilities, the hunger strikes, everything that everybody fought tooth and nail for, all these gang members, they didn't just do it for themselves. They did it for the people coming into prison now. So that way you can get social status of equality. You can be out there. You can get visitas, visit your family, your loved ones, fresh air, man. A lot of these things I got to respect that they fought for. They fought not only for themselves, like I say, but for everyone else coming in and going. Prison is an everyday thing when you're there, okay? It's repetitive. It's one day after another. But a lot of different things happen in prison. A lot of different things are going on them yards. There's a lot of things that can't be spoken on, a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes, just like as in life in general, man. There's always, hey, pay no attention to the man behind the closed door, right? Pay no attention to the Wizard of Oz. There's Wizards of Oz in there. There's things going on, and moves are being made. Money's being made. Influence is being fucking garnered and gathered, right? It just is what it is. There's always someone plotting and planning to put a piece in someone. There's always drama. Okay, you might not see it or smell it, but it's in the air. It's a fact, right? So in prison, you have to be your own man. You have to understand where you stand, who you rock with, and you got to be ready to go at all times. Because your life is not precious like you think it is. It's just another life. People get hit every day, all day for some of the most frivolous things I've ever seen. Feet that smell bad, bed not made properly, missing a shower, not functioning on a yard, not being clean. Just certain things I've seen people hit from all different factions over some of the most frivolous bullshit. But that's prison for you. You have to understand that you're in chaos. You're living in chaos. It might not seem chaotic that day, but it's going to get chaotic someday. Anyone who's ever been to prison has tasted that, right? Meanwhile, while you got dudes who want to go to prison are out here tasting the rainbow. It's a trip, right? I've never met anyone in my life that wanted to go to prison, after they've been there. I've had homeboys that, like I said, when we were young, we were striving to go to prison. It was a badge of honor. It was somewhere we knew we were going to end up. So the quicker we got there, hey, the better we could fucking participate, right? For our gente, for our people in the Norteño cause, we want to do whatever we can to make it easier for our gente. And if that means being incarcerated, and fighting behind them walls for what we truly believe in, then that's what we wanted to do. Then you go to prison. Then you realize what it's all about. Then you realize no one gives a fuck about you. Then you realize you do not want to go back to prison, right? That's just the way that is. If you're screaming in the background, it's my nephew being loud, you know? Anyways, I'm so privileged I can do these things now and be with my family, be with the kids, right? Be with the ones that love me the most, the only ones that love me. So, 19 years in prison, man, I could tell you I've seen a lot of different things, some tragic, some that I'll never forget. And I get asked all the time different questions. Do I miss when I was an active gang member, um, the canalismo from the homies? Absolutely. You know, I met good dudes that are never getting out. Good gente, man, that wish they had the opportunity a lot of us have. You know, and I'll never forget, you know, some of the things we've been through, some of the things we discussed, some of the game they gave me or I gave them, the knowledge you can't get in college. I respect it. And I'll always forever miss that, you know. But it doesn't mean I still want to be in prison and be there. So there's two things. What's the worst day in prison? It's your first day in prison. Okay, the first day that you hit those gates, you enter R&R, sucks. Because now you made it. Now you're there. Okay, county jail sucks worse than prison. We all know that, man. County jail. I've seen people take deal. I took a deal myself to get the fuck out of county, man, because you want to get to prison because you get more incentive in prison. There's better canteen. There's visiting. Just different things that you don't necessarily get in county jail. The visits behind glass suck, but when you go to prison, you can actually touch and feel your old lady, right? Um, in some cases, if you were validated back then, behind glass, and in most cases, you didn't even get visitas. They would send you so far that your old lady didn't want to travel that far. She was too busy with the black dude in your pad. Now, the first day is the worst day. And I say that to say this, you know, when you get locked up and you hit R&R and you realize, man, I'm going to be here for years, or I'm going to be in the system for years, it sucks because now it's a beginning of a journey that you don't know what it entails. Like I said, you can go into prison, do a term, it's all good, man. You were chilling with the homies, drinking, slamming, do whatever you're into, right? I never indulged in that type of frivolousness because I had to have my head on swivel. Being in Norteño at that time, I understood that we were only as smart as the smartest guy that we had. Couldn't be that weak link, right? So I had to stay on point. I couldn't be inebriated. I couldn't be intoxicated. I could, but I didn't. I chose not to be. There was a lot of homies that were going against the grain, and ultimately, that's why I ended up, you know, all bad because I didn't agree with that. I didn't agree with getting high on the yard. I didn't agree with drinking on the yards. I didn't agree with anything other than handling our business for our gente. I guess I'm all bad, huh? Anyways, I digress. In that situation, we all know now. So you get to prison and you realize you look around and it's just a bunch of bitter, hopeless gente. People that, you know, you could tell them, hey, man, you should get your GD. You should do this. There's certain things, you know, these guys are not getting out. A lot of them ain't getting out. So there's no reason to. They want to learn things like sharpening knives, making wine, what papers, who got the papers, who got the good dope on the yard. These are the things that they're interested in because their life is in there. And now you're there and you might not be there for the duration, but it feels like it because you have to adapt to what's going on there. You can't act outside of that bubble. They'll pop it. Facts. You know, the best day in prison is the last day. Okay. When you know you're getting out, there's butterflies. You're nervous. Even if you just did a year or two on a violation or whatever, right? You're nervous. And the reason you're nervous is because now you have to really live life. Now you have to pay bills. Now you have to go out there and get a job. Now you have responsibility. See, in prison, you are responsible for yourself, the way you conduct and carry yourself with professionalism and an attitude to go get it, right? But now there is no more 3 hots in a cot. There is no more fucking food. There is no more showers provided for you. Now you got to get out and really take care of business. If you have children, you got to get in their lives. You got to become a productive member of society. You got to keep your ass off the streets. A lot of these things weigh heavy on people, and that's why recidivism used to be up because people went back because they didn't know how to react to the outside world. It's not that they didn't know how to live. They didn't know how to live properly, right? They were so used to kicking it with their homeboys and sleeping on different couches and homegirls and fucking different chicks that they didn't realize now it's time to take care of your business as a man, if that's what you chose to do. I've had homeboys get out, get right into the spoon, get high, and they were on a mission. Fuck a violation. Fuck parole. I'm a soldier, right? My mentality was always to do better. When I was active, I still wanted to tap in with the homeboys, find out what was going on and better our advancement, you know, because advancement demands change. And so because my mindset had changed, I got a little bit more harder. I wanted to help younger homeboys advance by giving them glitch on game. True stories. This is what I was into. I was wrong. I was steering people the wrong way. I was poisoning their mentalities, right? I wasn't giving them a chance or an opportunity to understand situations because I never explained situations like that fully. I just let them know, hey, man, the homies need our fucking support or our help. We need to do this, make these moves, illegal or legal, didn't matter, to take care of the homies because that's where my mindset was at. It was all about the homies and our cause and fuck what they're going through in their families and all that. I didn't care because I didn't care about my own, right? But I always got out with the mentality I was going to try to do better. And so ultimately, there was no more try. It just was. So the last, I could tell you about a bunch of first days that I got out of prison, but I think the last time was probably the best time. And I remember getting out that day and I had a parole package and I was in on a year violation, a year flat for absconding, right? And this was the time that I didn't think I was going to make it out, man. They fucked up the paperwork. My parole agent, you got a parole agent in prison, happened to go on vacation, not come back for months. Somehow or another, he didn't do the proper paperwork for me. And I actually had to run up inside of a building to try to get the fuck out, right? To plead my case. It worked out. I got out the next day. It was the happiest moment of my life because I knew in that exact moment, first of all, I was happy because, wow, I'm finally getting out. I was already 3 months behind schedule, right? But the reason why is because my mentality changed. I was not active anymore. I wasn't in the mix. I wasn't obligated to the cause or to the homies. I didn't have to go out there and live that gang life anymore. Now it was all about what I was going to do, and my mind was made up, and it was great. You know, I remember that getting out, and they took me. I was in Jamestown, and they took me from there to Stockton, to the Stockton bus depot, the Greyhound, right? And I was on my way to Merced, and I got there. I had my gate money, my little 200, right? Bought a pack of frajos, man. Right there, there's like a Chevron gas station or a gas station right there. I went in there, bought me that. I remember I bought me a squirt soda, man. That was the best fucking soda to this day I've ever had. Best frajo I ever had, right? The first one's always the best one. And jumped on that bus, ended up in Modesto, stopped to go see my abuelita, my grandmother in Modesto. And man, I ate some of the best food. And everything to me was the best because I was a new man. I was a changed man. I had finally decided going in and out of prison wasn't for me. Now I was on parole. I knew I was going to have to deal with them shenanigans, but I made my mind up. Like, this is not for me anymore. I'm tired of doing time. I'm tired of doing dead time. So it was a great thing. You know, I got out. I was around family. And the thing that touched me the most was the beat was going on out there. They didn't stop everything all point bulletin. Oh, he's out, man. Let's throw a big party. That shit is make-believe and movies. Oh, Doughboy just got out. Clap your hands to the beat. Clap your hands to the beat. Like in Boys in the Hood, and they throw a big old party. There was none of that. It was family. There was some food right there. If you want to eat, you eat. Tortillas are right there. Flip a motherfucker. If not, get on, right? Wasn't nothing special because my family had decided that if I was throwing my life away in and out of incarceration, they weren't going to make a big deal of me locked up or getting out. You know, that's what we don't realize when we're in there. We think everyone cares. Everyone's moving on with their lives, man. The homeboys and the Varga move on with their lives, and your old lady. A lot of that type of shit happens. So, you know, again, I'm not trying to poison anyone from going into prison. If that's what the thing that the trajectory you're on, handle your scandal, right? But me, myself, I could tell you, I've been in prison a lot of first times and a lot of last times, right? But this was definitely the last time. That's what made it so unique and so valuable to me is I finally educated myself and realized I'm done. I don't want to do crime no more. Like, I don't have to. For so many years, man, I bled and I fought to achieve what? What do I have to show for it? Some battle scars and bullet fragments in my head and a whole bunch of people that either like me or they don't, when I could care less. So in 19 years total of incarceration in my life, I'm 46 years old, right? That's almost half my life. I realized that prison did nothing for me but hold me back. Now, it made me the man I am today. I respect myself. I don't care about anyone else's respect as long as I respect myself. That doesn't mean that I disrespect other people. That just means I respect myself because I know the direction I'm headed, which is positive, right? And I help people to realize that situation before they have to go through wasting so much time. If they choose to, they choose to. I can't make anyone's choices for them. I can just tell them how it was for me. And for everybody, it's different. So that last day in prison, getting out, man, that first day out was lovely. Like I said, I went there, went and chilled. I'd been writing a chick, right? And pulled up to her pad, walking, no car. No homeboys to pick me up. No, none of that. I walked to her pad and she gave me the meanest mamon on that. Well, not the meanest. Last weekend, that black chick was different. I'm just saying, though, get with your boy, right? The program is different. Anyways, man, that's how it was after 19 years incarceration total. And there was times when I'd get out and I was like, man, I don't care if I go back tomorrow. In fact, I'll tell you guys, trip out on this story. So I get out of prison and I get a little holiday, I get a little job. I'm in Washington State living, right? And I get arrested immediately. Cops were watching me. I guess that warrant came up, right? And they take me all the way back to Merced County Jail, all the way back. We travel interstate compact, bus to bus to bus. Took me about 17 days to get to California. It's crazy, right? And I get there and they offer me a deal. And because I was so active and with the homeboys and I wanted to stay with the homies, that's all I knew. I didn't give a fuck about getting back out. I just had got done doing like 6 years and didn't care to be on the streets. Was like, I'll chill in here with the homeboys and bust sprays, homie, right? And I did that. I took a deal. And I've told that story before. They fucked up and they gave me 10 days instead of 10 months. And I got on out of there, right? But I was willing to sacrifice all that to chill with the homies because that's all I cared about. Incarceration didn't mean shit to me. I knew how to do it. Once you know how to do prison, you can't forget it, right? Anyways, with that being said, think about what you do before you do it, man. If you want to spend your life on the installment plan or just get canceled out after the first one, prison ain't no joke. There's a lot of people that don't come back. They go in and they never come back. Money Sign Suede is a perfect example. He was a youngster that got locked up and he never made it back out. There's so many and several others that we don't even know or hear about. We only heard about him because he's semi-famous, right? Just is what it is. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, man.